Hello, I'm Claudia Oakes, and today I'm here with Moment in Time, Giles County. We're standing here on a spot that I'm afraid not many people, even in Pulaski, know about. It's the overlook of where two detachments of the Trail of Tears camped in the winter of 1838, about 2 weeks apart. And Pulaski has the distinction of being the only place along the Trail of Tears where any two of the 5 overland trails crossed. The Binges detachment came through in what is believed to be late October of 1838, and the Bell detachment came through about 2 weeks later in early November. Now, we're standing here on a beautiful day in May. The wind is blowing, there's a lovely breeze, but if you can imagine these people who by this time were so tired they had walked all the way across the top of Alabama, and here they are in late October and November, camping again out in the open by Richland Creek. It had to have been damp and oh so very cold, and they still had so long to go before they got to what is now eastern Oklahoma and the Cherokee Nation. There are so many ironies associated with the Trail of Tears, but I think the biggest one has to be with the fact that the 5 tribes that were displaced from their lands to go on the Trail of Tears were called the 5 civilized tribes by the United States government, not the 5 savage tribes. They were the Cherokee, the Choctaw, the Chickasaw, the Seminole, and the Creek. And probably their attempts, particularly the Cherokee, to assimilate into white society may have been one of the factors that caused the government in Washington and Andrew Jackson to make the final decision to get them off the land. Because the Cherokee had developed a constitution based on the U.S. Constitution. They had set up a form of government based on the U.S. Congress. They had, for the first time in the mid-1820s, elected their principal chief rather than having it be hereditary or taken in battle. And so they had become extremely civilized. Some of the really dominant families, the Vans, the Ridges, the Rosses, were extremely wealthy. They controlled large tracts of land. You can't say they owned it because all the land was owned in common by the Cherokee Nation. But Major Ridge, for example, oversaw over 200 acres in what is now Rome, Georgia. The Vans, who lived slightly northeast of the Ridges, were even wealthier, the Rosses as well. So these civilizing influences by the tribes, particularly the Cherokee, really upset the United States government because they couldn't say, well, look, these people are marauding savages. They simply weren't. And then, of course, once gold was discovered in northeast Georgia on Cherokee land, that was kind of the last straw that the federal government said, these people have got to go. We want these lands. They're too valuable to leave it to these Native Americans. So Pulaski has a place in this history. We're standing in front of it. It's on Cemetery Street, and I hope that more people will come down here and appreciate not just the beauty of the spot, but also come to feel like what it must have been like for those hundreds of displaced people marching off to somewhere they knew not where, walking, camping out in the open, and trying to figure out how they were going to make a new life for themselves wherever it was they were going to go. So as sad as the story is, I feel privileged to share that with you today, and thank you very much for inviting me to be on Moment in Time.